gas is like, $10+ a gallon. A gallon of milk is $30. Rent is exploding. You can't afford electricity or gas. Well, once that happens, you have 72 hours before the zombies come out, and it becomes a horrible game of have and have-nots. Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. And today we're going to be covering Waypoint Caches. For those of you who don't know what this is, a Waypoint Cache is basically a small pre-planned cache of equipment and food that you might need before, while you're on your E&E or you're fleeing the zombie apocalypse to somewhere that's a little more safe. Now, this particular one is set up for Michigan. Those of you out there who live in different states or different countries, you're going to have to make some decisions on how you're going to do your E&E corridor based on the terrain that you're faced with. Like in a desert, it gets a lot more difficult because you have to have more waypoints and you have to have water at those points. If you're on vehicle, you could do this. You can do the same thing, except you have to probably have fuel cans stashed somewhere, and that makes it a lot more complicated. So the one we're going to be talking about today is for people on foot. All right, it's very simple. You don't have a vehicle. You're on your all you have is your shoes and boots. Maybe you have a small survival belt or kit with you to help you out to get your first waypoint. Maybe you don't. Okay, it is what it is. If you want to survive bad enough, you will go however long it takes until you get to that first waypoint if you have nothing but your clothes on your back and shoes on your feet. All right, so let me explain this to you. I actually write books, and my second one came out roughly 3 months ago. Basically, the series is called the Jericho Files, and it's about a psychic who hunts and stalks serial killers. There are some very explicit kill-em-up death scenes in there, and my friends called it gore porn, but what do they know? And so far, it's got 4 to 5 stars on Amazon. You should probably check it out, and it is print on demand. But if you're one of those guys that can't read like me, or you're just too lazy to read, we're going to have audiobooks coming out soon. So in the meantime, click on the links in the description and go enjoy your own gore ornpay. So say here's your city environment, okay? Gas is like, $10+ a gallon. A gallon of milk is $30. And, rent is exploding. You can't afford electricity or gas. Everyone's unemployed. Well, once that happens, you have 72 hours before the zombies come out, and it becomes a horrible game of have and have-nots. And it gets ugly from there. So your primary plan is you're going to try to, hunker down and ride it out. What? 72 hours later, maybe a little bit more, somebody finds wind that you're in your house, you have stuff, and 100 people come to kick your door down, and you have to run out the back door with basically just the clothes on your back and some shoes on your feet. And you're by yourself, because it just gets infinitely more complicated when you have family members and individuals who are weak-minded, weak-willed. And they're going to be nothing but a bunch of anchors. You're going to have to kick them in the ass and drag them along with you if you want to move with any speed. And there's a lot of people out there who grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth and never missed a meal, and they're going to be the first ones affected by this because those people are weak. All right, you guys can get offended if you want, but in all my time in the military, I would get these softies coming out of basic and AIT to show up at my unit, and they were weaker than infants. And it took me a good 6 months to a year to stomp some strength back into them, and they didn't like it in the beginning, but years later they thanked me for it in the end. All right, so let's say your E&E corridor is 200 miles long. You have contacted some of your friends and associates along this corridor where you can leave equipment for yourself if needed. When you put a waypoint cache in position, you have to accept the fact that everything in there is gone. Yeah, you go to the waypoint, you hope it's there, hopefully it will be there, but in all reality, if the zombies get to it first, well, then it's a wash and you have to go to the next waypoint. I know that sounds shitty, but that's the reality on the ground. All right, now remember, the goal here is to survive. You're not looking to do any offensive operations. You just want to get out of Dodge, get to safety, and wait it out and see what's going to happen next. And we can cover that in a later episode. All right, with that being said, I'm going to readjust the camera, and I'm going to show you a quick waypoint cache box. And what you see here is a storage box that I got at John R. Lumber. You can buy these at Home Depot and Lowe's. There's all kinds of different models. I like this one because it has wheels in the back. I'm old and carrying this around is pretty heavy. It's probably a two-person job, but you can roll around with one person. It is what it is. Now, you can't bury this. It's not waterproof. Plus, this will not support the weight of the compacted dirt around it. It'll crush in and ruin everything inside. All right, this is something that you either store in someone's basement, put in a crawl space, put it in a hunting cabin, somewhere out of sight, out of mind. Get creative. You guys can figure it out. I'm not going to hold your hand on everything. We're going to open this up. So let's say you make it to your first waypoint. This is in position. You have nothing but the clothes on your back, shoes on your feet. You're cold, you're hungry, you're thirsty, the whole deal. So you get there, and ideally I would lock this with a minimum of 2 locks, one in each corner here, but you can do 4 if you can afford it. Padlocks get kind of expensive. It's a pain in the dick. All right, so let's open this up. All right, now the first thing you see at the top is a pack. You gotta have one of these because you gotta carry a lot of shit. The best place to carry it is on your back, attached to your shoulders with a good waist belt to keep you from blowing out your discs in your back. All right, so we're gonna pull this out. Now you'll see here on the top of this pack, you have thick work gloves because you're gonna have to cut wood and do all kinds of other heavier tasks that are gonna require man strength, and you have calluses on your hands. If you don't have the calluses on your hands, you wear these, and if you don't have man strength, if you survive, you'll have it at the end. Now right here, I have an old Camelback, carries like a gallon of water. All right, so you get there. Now we're in Michigan, so you can find water pretty much anywhere. And you fill this up and you purify it with water purification tablets, or you run it through a filter. All right, so we're going to take this out. And for those of you who don't know what kind of pack this is a Marine pack, because unfortunately their shit seems to be a little bit better than what the Army has. Now this is a MARSOC pack, which is the Marine Corps Special Operations branch. So they have a better budget to get better shit. So that just is what it is. Now, I'm not sure if any of the other Army Special Operations use this, but probably they should look into it because it's actually pretty good. You can put almost as much shit in there as you can in a large old Alice pack, and you'll be all right. Now, down here, this is a camouflage system because you want to get away. And the best way to do that is you have the ability to camouflage yourself and lay low at night so people can't see you. All right. Now we're going to open this up. All right, you see how this works? It basically opens up from right in the front here. So a lot of Velcro. All right, so here you are. We are inside this pack now. I'm going to show you what's in here. All right. If you have to run and you have to get behind cover and you have to do it quickly, it only takes 2 or 3 times and you're gonna basically mash up your knees. These are knee pads. Survival saw. This is an awesome tool. It'll allow you to zip through trees and logs with no problem to help you collect firewood and such. So put that down over here. All right, open this up some more. Now if you see, hat. All right, people underrate hats, but you put one of these on to keep the sun off your head. If it's hot out and out of your eyes, it really helps with long-term fatigue. Socks, t-shirts, you see they're in a waterproof plastic bag that has been taped shut, because if you have to cross water and enough of the stuff in your pack is waterproofed, it will be buoyant and you can still have the pack either on your back or you're carrying it behind you on a cord or something to get you across. Now ideally, if you have to cross a water obstacle, the best course of action is to take the pack off. It is not buoyant. You're going to have to build a raft and get across. I'll cover that in another class because that's like a half-hour block of instruction. All right, now over here, a lot of people don't really seem to understand this, but this is Gortex. This is the old school Gortex. Camouflage, like the old BDUs. The shit works. I have no idea why they went away from this because, you can see that the people in charge of the show are lining their pockets by giving out contracts for useless bullshit. There's absolutely no reason they had to go away from the BDU styles. It's just utter horseshit. All right, now those are the pants, and this is the top. Now the best thing about Gore-Tex is if you are soaking wet and you're cold, you can throw this on and hunker down and chill out for a while, and you'll actually sweat. Your body heat will sweat and push all of that moisture through the Gore-Tex, but the Gore-Tex doesn't let it back in. So you can literally dry yourself when you're soaking wet and remain warm. All right, this is self-explanatory. This is an additional smoking jacket. It's basically one of those things I always wear. It's made from woolly material, silk. You put this on underneath the Gore-Tex jacket when you start to get cold. You're good down to like 20 degrees. Now you won't be comfortable, but you're not going to freeze to death, especially if you're moving. All right, here is a rubberized poncho. This is a little heavier than a standard nylon poncho that the Army uses now. This is an old model, but this is rubberized. So they basically took that same ripstop material and they vulcanized rubber to it. And this will keep you dry. All right, the water's not getting through this. In fact, you can use this to make a poncho raft. That's another class. We'll cover that later on. All right, now down here, this is a Gore-Tex Bivvy Bag. Okay, you can basically get in this with your sleeping bag. It keeps the water out and allows the water, keeps the water from getting in and allows the water to get out. Here's basically this is a cold weather balaclava. You put this on your face, over your head and so forth to keep yourself warm. Now, a lot of people don't seem to realize this. If you put this on your head and it is freezing cold, you will be a lot warmer because a large majority of your body heat escapes through your thinking meat cap, and that's not good for anyone. Next, we have sleeping bag. Now I have it wrapped in plastic because I want it to be buoyant, right? This is a Merlin 3 sleep system. It's good down to like 30 degrees. You can push it down to 20, maybe a little less than that. Like I said, you're not going to be, staying in this position for a long amount of time. You certainly are going to be sleeping 8 to 12 hours. You're going to do 4 to 6 tops. When I'm in a situation like this, I usually just sleep 2. So 2 hours. And, that's what I get anyway for the most part because I can't sleep anymore. But I'm not going to undo this whole thing, but it is a great sleeping bag system. It compacts into a small roll like this. And combined with a ground mat and overhead cover with a fire, you can literally stay in this in extreme conditions as long as that fire is going. And get recharged, get your rest, repack, and get the hell out of there. All right, now you gotta excuse me, I'm making a mess here, but you know, it is what it is. Now let's see what else we got going on here. Okay. The top of this rucksack, there's basically a pocket that allows you easy access to stuff you're gonna use on a regular basis. So let's go through this. Let's see what we got in here. All right, now I got compressed triaxial fuel tabs. These are great for heating up water. It's kind of a waste if you use a whole tab on that. I use it for fire starters and heat the water or whatever I have to over the fire. This is your water purification straw. All right, another compressed triaxial tablets. Dental floss. All right, now dental floss will allow you to basically keep your teeth from rotting out of your head and to make good sutures if you need it. Now this one happens to be, it's not flavored. I sewed a couple guys up with cinnamon dental floss in the past and they were certainly not happy. A bummer. All right, we'll put that over here. All right, this is cordage for making putting up a tarp or a shelter, thus the rain poncho for overhead cover, putting in position. And then over here I have Swiss Miss Cocoa, which you can use when you're getting low on sugar and you're on the move and you need to recharge real quick. All right, so we're gonna finish up with this pack and we're gonna move on to some other stuff in the box. Now you guys have to bear with me if I don't constantly keep eye contact with the camera, but this is a very hands-on video, so you have to bear with me. Now keep in mind, this is just a Waypoint cache. You do not have to take everything in here with you, but I always put a little bit extra in there just in case I get a tag along that wants to get the hell out of Dodge. Now typically if you have a tag along, it's got to be somebody you know well. It can't be just somebody you meet on the street because, there's no loyalty there. But like hypothetically, let's say you have a friend you've known since, high school or 20 plus years. And, he doesn't really believe in the whole prepper thing. And shit goes south and he shows up at your house. Yeah, you can do the I told you so and what have you. But hey, like if you're like me, I'm not going to leave that guy to die. If he can't keep up, that's on him, but I'll give him the opportunity. And I'm being a nice guy here, I know. Now, here is another important piece of equipment to have in this box. A knife. Preferably something that's, 4 to 6 inches long. You can use this for all kinds of purposes. Sharpening sticks, cutting cordage, and you can actually fight with this one because you can see it's based off of a Japanese design, which when they designed their shit back in the day, it was mostly for fighting. Now this one comes in a custom Kydex sheath. I think I paid $50 for the knife and like $60 for the sheath, so I'm into this for like $110. And the actual clamp on the back was I think that was 15, so about $125 for a decent knife. It's really not that expensive. All right, now here is some more fire starting stuff. All right, these are blocks of sawdust and they're basically been permeated with wax. You only need to break off one little square, put your kindling on top of that, and get this going with an open flame, and you'll be in business in no time flat. All right, now here's the second rubberized poncho. Like I said, if you have a tag along, you just give them this. Okay, here we go. There's a radio. All right, ideally you want to have the radio in there and the charging equipment. I don't have it in this particular box, but you get yourself one of those fold-out solar panels with enough wattage to basically charge this and keep it going. And if we are successful in setting up the ham radio on network, you just click this on and you're in business. All right, you're talking. All right, now this here is another sleeping bag, but this one's rated to 0 degrees. I got this for $90 on eBay. It comes with its own compression sack. It's a little larger and bulkier to carry, but if you are in a very, very cold environment or a bad season, you're gonna need this because it makes life a lot easier. All right, I got another poncho liner. All right, you can add this to the Merlin sleeping system on the inside, and you can literally sleep in that thing in the bivvy bag down to like 0 to 10 degrees. I love these things. It's the best invention the military's ever come up with. All right, here's another second knife right here. Now this is just a Kershaw 4-inch survival knife. It's nothing big. Got that on eBay for like 35 bucks. All right, now this is a Waypoint. You're gonna have to have some food in there. Like I said, peanut butter. You can literally keep yourself going on 3 large tablespoons of this a day, morning, noon, and night, with your water. And you can literally get by on just that. And you might have to supplement a multivitamin, but you know, you can get those at the corner store right now, and I suggest you do. And I got this at, I think this was BJ Club, which I'm disappointed in because you can never get a BJ there. There's not even on free sample day, which is kind of disturbing. All right, now, a lot of you are like, Papa, what about regular food? Okay, here we go. Beans. Now, this here, you can literally eat 1 can of beans a day with your 3 scoops of peanut butter, take your water, and you can maintain a decent pace, and your body's not going to quit on you if you're in shape. So remember, get in shape. Put this aside. This was kind of heavy, though. You can't put a lot of the heavy shit in here because you still have to have mobility. All right, this is a first aid kit, and it's a little bit more advanced than the standard first aid kit that you put in your bug out bag, because you're allowed a little more space and a little more weight here, and that's just the way that goes. All right, now one of the fans sent me this. This is emergency rations, and it's basically a high oat grain emergency food that's freeze dried, and you can literally live off this for roughly 3 days. Okay, if you're just using this, if you use this to supplement with the beans and the peanut butter, you'll be just fine. Now, a lot of you are like, hey, Pop, you know that all tastes so bland and it's kind of shitty. I don't want to eat that. Well, if you're saying that, you have never experienced true hunger, okay? And when you get to that certain hunger level, you will scrape up roadkill, cook it, eat it, and be happy. All of those people out there, like, I can never eat an animal. They've never been truly hungry. When you get that hungry, you know there's a switch in your thinking meat that flips, and you're like, fuck it, I'm eating it. That's just the way it is. It's a survival mode thing. A lot of you out there are like, hey, Pop, what about ammo and all that other shit? And okay, this box is a Waypoint box. You can or cannot put a weapon in here if you need it. I personally would probably put a weapon in it if I had any that were my own, but I lost most of mine in the divorce and a boating accident. I have one here that was loaned to me by a friend of mine. I have to give it back in 2 days. It was strictly for the filming of this video. All right, now look at this. Say you have that rifle, right? All you need is 80 rounds, because this is a bolt-action rifle. You're not doing anything stupid with it. You're not doing offensive operations. It's basically you need it for either self-defense or shooting a deer. Deer meat's great. Or a feral hog. Or if you're on the run and you come across something else that you can eat, this is what you need here. All right, now this is just pistol ammunition. There's no pistol in this box. But when the zombies come out to play, this is as good as gold. You can literally barter bullets for all kinds of shit. Okay, and you can put silver in here too if you want. I personally, unfortunately, don't have a lot of silver, and I certainly don't have enough to spread out in a Waypoint Cache box. I don't know, maybe that'll change in the future. We'll see, but it is what it is. Now I have some additional items in here for staying warm. Like this is a polypro top. This with the Gortex will keep you dry and warm. All right, because when this gets wet and it's against your skin, it wicks the moisture off your skin. Then it will go through the Gortex and you will dry out. You can literally put this on if you're soaking wet, wrap up in Gore-Tex, lay down by the fire, go to sleep, and you'll be dry in the morning. I've done it hundreds of times. Now, this is a fleece top. I know, you're like, hey, Pop, that's old. Listen, I have models of the green one and the new brown one, and they suck. They royally suck. All right, they don't really provide any warmth. They're paper thin, and they rip apart easy. Now, I don't know why they couldn't keep using this and just, the exact same material and so forth. But I love these, and you can get these on eBay dirt cheap right now. All right, now we're going to move on to the last thing we're going to talk about here. This is a 303 British deer rifle. Okay, I have a, what is it? A 4x16 first focal plane scope on it. And this mount is from Adley Precision in Canada. And you can, this is not technically a sniper weapon. It doesn't have that kind of MOA, so you're not going to be able to reach out and touch people at extreme ranges. But this is perfectly good inside 300 or 400 meters for deer, wild boar, and what have you, to collect meat. It's got a 10-round box magazine, and the thing I like about the 303 rifle, it's got a very, very smooth operation. Okay, when you oil this up and get it ready to go, and there's a technique you can use, and a lot of the British soldiers did this. I'm not going to show you here, but those guys were able to pump out, 30 to 60 rounds a minute. What's the highest? I don't know who held the record, but during the World War II era, they had a soldier that was able to fire over 60 rounds and hit a target in a minute. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to be able to do that or anything, because that's a level of skill and precision that's going to take a lot of practice. And in today's day and age, where ammo is basically $1.50 a piece, you really can't afford that. So I'll probably borrow this again in the future and go out to the range and show how it's zeroed, and maybe be able to shoot some steel targets out to 400. It all depends. This particular scope, it's not really a high-end scope. I put this on some other platforms that I had the pleasure of shooting, and it holds a zero. Once it's zeroed in its first focal plane, you can really zero it at 4, turn it all the way up to 16, and the strike of the bullet is going to be the same place that you were aiming at. Now, some of you are like, Pop, but this is so long, it's not going to fit in that box. Like this, you would be correct. But hey, you can literally take this out of the stock with one screw. Takes it out. That's it. You take the screw out. You can take out the trigger and the hammer mechanism, put it in a plastic bag, put the magazine in a plastic bag. Now it's in 2 pieces. It could easily fit in this box. All right. Now, right now, you can get a British 303 from anywhere from $200 to $500. Ideally, you would like to go to somewhere where you can actually inspect it, look at the bore and the rifling in the barrel, because these rifles are now very old and they're workhorses, and a lot of their prior owners did just that. Now, this particular one, in the past, when I borrowed it to shoot, it shot like 1.5 to 2 MOAs, which is not bad. And it would throw around every once in a while, because this is not a match trigger. All right, and this is just a hunting rifle, and that's about it. All right, gentlemen, now that I've unpacked all my bullshit, hopefully you like this video, and please listen to what I'm trying to tell you. If things get bad, like in certain countries in South America, you might have to get out and away from the cities. If you put a plan in place and it never happens, great. I don't want it to happen either. But it's better to have and not need than to need it and not have it.